We throw the word fit around all the time, right? I've got to get fit, or wow, they're really fit. But what are we actually saying? What does being fit truly mean? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dig in and really break it down.
So let me start by asking you a question. Are you healthy or are you fit? Now, you might think those are the same thing. A lot of us use those words interchangeably, but turns out they are two very different concepts. And getting that difference is the key to understanding everything about physical performance.
So here's the game plan for our journey today. First, we'll pull apart the ideas of health and fitness. Then, we'll dive into the 11 specific parts that make up fitness. After that, we'll look at how we can actually measure them. And finally, we'll talk about what those test results really tell us.
All right, first up, health, fitness, and you. It's time to clear up one of the biggest mix-ups in the world of wellness.
Okay, check this out, because this is the core difference. Health is, well, it's huge. It's a complete state of well-being. That includes your physical, mental, and even your social well-being. Fitness, though, it's much more specific. It's a physical capability.
So this is the definition you want to remember. Fitness is your ability to handle whatever your environment throws at you. And here's the cool part. That means fitness is totally relative. I mean, think about it. The demands on an Olympic sprinter are worlds away from the demands on a firefighter or an office worker or a grandparent who's just trying to keep up with their grandkids. So being fit looks completely different for every single one of us.
So if fitness is all about meeting the demands of your life, what are the physical skills that let us do that? That leads us straight into the 11 components of fitness. You can think of this as the actual blueprint for physical performance.
That's right, there are 11 of them. 11 distinct parts that all come together to create what we call physical fitness. You know, thinking about fitness not as just one thing, but as a whole collection of skills, that's a real game changer. So let's break them down.
All right, first, let's talk about some of the big ones. You've got cardiovascular fitness. That's how well your heart and lungs work. That's absolutely critical for, say, a firefighter running up a flight of stairs. Muscular endurance is what lets them do it over and over again. Strength is the pure force they need to carry all their gear. And speed? Well, speed is what makes that Olympic sprinter an Olympian.
Next up, we have components that are all about the quality of your movement. Agility is what lets that firefighter dodge debris in a smoky room, or what lets a grandparent quickly sidestep a toy car on the floor. Flexibility gives you the range of motion to do that without getting hurt. And then there's power, which is a cool mix of strength and speed together. It's what lets a sprinter just explode out of the starting blocks.
And our last group is all about control and how you respond to things. Body composition is simply your ratio of muscle to fat, and it affects pretty much everything else. Balance? Well, that's crucial for that grandparent trying to keep up with a toddler on the move. Coordination is the magic that ties all these movements together smoothly. And reaction time? That's how fast our firefighter responds when something unexpected happens. See? Fitness is so much more than just how long you can run on a treadmill.
Okay, so we've got these 11 components, but things like agility or power can feel a little vague, right? How do you actually know if you have good agility? Well, that brings us right to our next section, how we turn these ideas into actual concrete numbers. The answer is we use standardized fitness tests. Now, the two super important words here are standardized and protocols. A protocol is just a very strict set of rules for how to do the test. This makes sure that every single time the test is performed, it's done in the exact same way. That's what makes the results accurate and reliable, so you can actually compare them over time.
And this table here really shows you how it all connects. We take a concept like power, and we measure it with a real-world action, the vertical jump test. We can measure agility with something called the Illinois Agility Test. And for flexibility, a classic one is the sit and reach test. For every component, there's a practical test designed to measure it.
Let's make this even clearer by looking at the actual protocol for the sit and reach test. See how specific it is? Sit on the floor, keep your legs straight, reach forward smoothly. It even says you have to hold the position, no bouncing allowed. That level of detail is exactly what turns a simple stretch into a real, valid measurement.
So we can test all these different things and get a whole bunch of numbers back. But so what? What's the real value of these tests? Let's dig into what those numbers are actually telling us.
It's really important to look at both sides of the coin here. On one hand, the benefits are pretty obvious. These tests help us pinpoint our strengths and
maybe more importantly, our weaknesses. They give us a starting point, a baseline, so we can track our progress and see if our training is actually working. But there are limits. A test is just a snapshot. It doesn't measure things like your motivation or how well you work on a team. And for some people, just the pressure of being tested can be stressful and not give a true picture of what they can do.
So, at the end of the day, fitness tests are amazing tools. They give us objective data, which is incredibly useful. But that data is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. It can tell you how high you jump, but it can't define who you are. So I want to leave you with this question. Knowing all this and thinking about the demands of your life, how do you define your own performance?